See this? You may think that this is just a regular old light bulb that you use to light up your house with. That's all it is, right? Nothing significant about a light bulb, right? Wrong. It's a whole lot more than just a light bulb that you use to light up your house. This is September the 5th, 2025. I want to talk to you a few minutes about these LED light bulbs. Now, most of you know that this is all you can get now in the stores because the old incandescent light bulbs have been banned by the government. Go figure, right? You can't buy anything in the stores now except for the LED light bulbs. Why is that? It's all part of the agenda, okay? It's all part of the plan to take us out. These LED light bulbs are light emitting diodes, they call them, or whatever, which I don't know anything about a light emitting diode, but what I do know about these LED light bulbs is they have a built-in power source within them, and even when this light bulb is not in use, it can be used. The power source within it can be used by the energy weapons to attack you. Yes. Now, we know that our electronics can be used for the same thing because all of our electronics, our computers, our phones, our TV, everything that's electronic has a built-in power source also that the energy weapons can connect to. And anything you buy nowadays, if it's new, it's going to have the built-in power source, and it's probably even going to have a USB port, which is built into it, which gives them an extra power source. Okay. Now let me tell you where this comes in, because when I first started being attacked with the energy weapons and the frequencies were hitting me in the head and hitting me all over the body, and they were following me around my house, and every room I went into I could feel the frequencies hitting me. I mean, I was literally being attacked, and I was trying to hide from them. Everywhere I go, they still were able to get to me. And I knew that they were using my electrical power because of the things that were burning up inside my home. The electrical outlets were catching on fire, and I had some appliances that were catching on fire. So I knew they were using my electrical power. So that's when I started turning off my power outside, and I started removing or getting rid of my electronics inside my home. Got rid of my Wi-Fi, I got rid of my cable TV, I got rid of everything that they could use as a power source to attack me. I even had to get rid of everything in my house that was battery operated. Now this didn't happen overnight. It was over a period of 3 years where I was constantly in the process of removing any kind of alternate power source in my house that the weapons could use, when I had figured out that they were using my power, my electrical power. And if you cut off your main power outside at the box, that's gonna cut off their primary power source, because that's what they use first. If they can't use that, then they'll find another power source. But you see how they got us caged in, folks? See how they got us where everything in our house has been weaponized? Everything that we use and that we count on and that we have to survive day to day has been weaponized against us, all the way down to our light bulbs. Now, I can remember when I I put all my electronics in a metal box, locked it in there, because I knew that they could hit those electronics even when they wasn't plugged in or they wasn't on. And then when I realized they were hitting my battery, things that ran on batteries like my flashlight, my clocks, my radios, I started having to get rid of those too. Even my watch, the battery in my watch, they were using that, and they still use my cell phone. Okay, so I started having to get rid of everything that was battery operated, and that was the most stressful because when I'd lay down at night and I'd feel the frequencies hitting my head, and I'd go, well, what kind of power source are they using? And I'd have to get up and go through all the drawers and try to find out what kind of power source they were using. And most of the time, I would find a loose battery in the drawer or something that I missed. You know, even your outside, the batteries in your security cameras outside, they can use them. Anything that's battery operated, your smoke alarm. So I had to get rid of all that, okay? Just so I could just cope with the attacks. But the one thing that I didn't remove from my house was the light bulbs. Everybody has to have light bulbs to light their home. Unless they want to live in the dark, you have to have light bulbs. And everybody has at least one of these light bulbs in every room of their house. You have them in every room of your house. You have them inside most of your appliances. You have them in your flashlights. You have them in your automobiles. Everything that we use, almost everything we use has a light bulb. So you have to have them, right? You have to have light bulbs to keep from living in the dark. So this was the only thing that I didn't remove from my house, and honestly, I didn't think that much about it. I knew they could probably hit the light bulbs, but I thought, well, it's just a light bulb, right? It's just a little old light bulb, and it's off at night, so, you know, it's not going to have that much power, but I was wrong. They used to have chips in them, electronic chips in them, and they have a power source that stays powered up even when they're not in use, which means you can have this light bulb laying on your kitchen table, and the energy weapons can connect to this light bulb, the energy source in this light bulb, and use it to power their weapons to attack you. That's what's happening, okay? I didn't really put a whole lot of significance on the light bulb until I got my due report. And inside my due report, it said that the light bulbs in my home was one of the things they were using to power up their weapons, okay? The energy weapons that are attacking us, they use our electrical power. They don't even supply their own power source. They use our electrical power. And if you look it up, and you look up how the directed energy weapons are powered, it will say host. In other words, they use the power of the host that they're attacking. They use your electrical power. So what do? You got to have light bulbs, right? What I'm doing, I'm trying to get some of the old incandescent light bulbs. Now, I'm sure they can probably hit them too, but they're not going to have the chips in them. They're not going to have the power supply in them that the LED light bulbs have, okay? So I'm trying to go online. You can get them online, okay? You can still get the incandescent light bulbs in some places online. I know you can get them on eBay. So I'm going to try to get some of those, and I'm going to replace the LED light bulbs inside my home with the old incandescent light bulbs. And I saw a video the other day about somebody, one of the neurosurgeons who was talking about the effects of the LED light bulbs, and he had a whole list of symptoms that they were causing. Not only do they put you to sleep, He said they use them to put you to sleep. They cause insomnia, and they can cause insomnia. They can put you to sleep, or they can keep you awake, which is crazy. They cause headaches. They can cause nausea. They can cause brain. I forgot what he called it. Brain aneurysm or something. But anyway, the weapons is what's doing. The weapons is what's attacking us. Okay, but they're using LED light bulbs as a power source, and you probably have one of these next to your in the lamp next to your bed. Okay, most people have lamps next to their bed, and you most likely have them in your ceiling, in your light fixtures in your ceiling. You have them in your bathroom, you have them in your kitchen, you have them everywhere. And something else I've noticed about these LED light bulbs and the homes where I go and I work, I noticed that the people who have the LED light bulbs in the ceiling, those round LED bulbs that you see in people's ceilings, if you sit under those, or if you stand under those for very long, you're going to start having pain in your body. I've noticed that when I sit on the sofa in people's houses where they have the LED lights in the ceiling, I always end up, not only do I start having pain in my body, but I always end up feeling like all my energy is being sucked out of my body when I stand under these lights or sit under these lights or lay under these lights. Okay. I mean, I'm sure there's no way to really know what all these light bulbs have inside of them, folks. Okay, so I don't know. I'm not going to pretend like I know what a diode is, because I don't. But I know that these light bulbs have a power source that's always on. They can always connect to this light bulb, even when it's laying on your table, just like they can a battery. Okay, because it's got the chips in it, the electronic chips, and even your little USB devices, the little thing that you plug into your computer, they can hit that. And I found that out the hard way. I had one that I left laying on my table in the dining room, and I got up in the middle of the night one night because the frequencies was hitting my head, and I said, I've left the battery out. I've left the battery laying out somewhere. And so I started looking around, seeing what power source they could be using. And this is hard to believe, okay? But that little USB drive that I had left on my table had been stood up on its end. They stood it up on the end, and it was leaning up against a bag that I had on the table. They stood it up so that they could have easy access to that USB drive. So that's when I realized that they were using the USB drive. So you see how they got us caged in? You see how there's no escaping these weapons? You see how they have very carefully planned this for our whole lives. They planned it. And they manufactured this way of hitting us with all of our electronics, with all of our appliances, with everything that's battery operated. Anything that's electric or has a power source, they're using to attack us. That's really all I wanted to say today, was just talk a little bit about the LED light bulbs. And you may want to consider, if you're a targeted individual, you may want to consider switching out your LED light bulbs for the incandescent light bulbs. I mean, there's no doubt that it would help. would help cut down on your attacks. That's all, guys. I love you.